I am making a second part to the last video I made because there were some things I left out. I wanted to go more into detail on all of my evidence, especially after tons of feedback I received that some parts of my video were unclear. This doesn't mean I was wrong. I simply put some pieces of evidence that were shown improperly. The Omnarch staff members have been throwing accusations at me that I'm using out of context photos, which is not true at all. I will get more into detail about that later, but also they are trying to claim that I'm lying about my evidence, which is also not true. Let's get into that first, because in this sense they are not innocent at all. This is part 2 of their exposed video. First, let's talk about Caliber. Caliber was exposed at risk for being a pedophile. Like, even allowing a pedophile in your server is ridiculous, but what's worse than that is giving them power. Like, can you imagine it? A pedophile in your server, a pedophile running your game, a pedophile that runs around banning people. Sentinel is also a staff member who was banned on Risk Universalis, but for different reasons. One, because he was involved in a furry porn community, and on a unrelated note, was also a Confederate LARPer while he was still unbanned from Risk Universalis. Not a good look to anybody. Dutch Hellman is also a staff member and a longtime member of the Risk Universalis community, being punished several times for various issues, but there was something different about one of those punishments. Dutch Hellman was permanently banned for a violation of Roblox's TOS, and by Amenity himself, the leader of Risk Universalis. Despite this, Zenbox appealed him a few days later, and look where he is now. He's a staff member. Who knows what Dutch Hellman did that caused him to get banned, but if we're going off what we know, then it was definitely not a good thing. Amenity only steps in for important matters, okay? Let's just say that. And permanent bans are pretty important. I just find it pretty weird that Zenbox Sherman is banning and unbanning people like this, even letting them become staff members. It doesn't sound like the type of person to be managing a game. The final person that's on this list is not a staff member, but I wanted to include him in the video anyways because he has an extremely bad image in Risk Universalis. His name is Unlas, and if you are a Risk Universalis veteran, you already know him well. Again, I have no idea why he's being kept in an Omnarch server, even being sheltered by Zenbox from criticism and accusations. The right thing to do is to ban him just like everybody else. Before I continue, I do want to talk about the 5 pillars of Omnarch that's posted to the Omnarch Discord server. It's supposed to talk about the 5 fundamental parts about the community, which are supposed to make the game stand out to games like Risk Universalis and World Conquest. The problem is that Zenbox Sherman isn't following these pillars, and it's mostly a cover-up. Out of all the pillars, I will only be talking about the first, second, and fifth one, because the third and fourth one haven't been violated yet. Let's begin with the first pillar. This community is built out of necessity. It's not a sequel, it's a clean break. It's not a rebellion nor a replacement. No more backroom politics and no more power plays by egotistical individuals. Just a game you play. Now, when he says it's not a sequel, it pretty much is, because everything that Omnarch that has been made in the game pretty much copied Risk. You could even consider that it's just a replica, but instead of a stud-based map, it's just a edible image, which is pretty nice. However, he's claiming that it's not a sequel, even though it's literally just the same thing. And he's also saying that it's not a rebellion nor a replacement. However, he was the one that got fired from Risk Universalis, so I find it likely that he just made Omnarch just for the fact that he didn't get what he wanted. And it also says no more backroom politics and no more power plays by egotistical individuals. Again, we went through this the last chapter. That's not true at all. because he's saying egotistical individuals. I have exposed 5 people in this video so far, and they're all egotistical individuals. So I don't know what he's talking about with that. Now let's go to the second pillar. Omnarch is what happens when the devs, staff, and players get tired of the bullshit. It's a community where you actually build something new, not roleplay Discord or group hierarchies with dozens of seniority ranks to it. Your contribution matters more than your role. Titles won't save you, they won't stop you either. Let's read the third sentence. Not roleplay Discord or group hierarchies with dozens of seniority ranks to it. Sandbox wants you to believe that Omnarch is a democracy, that it's a clean break, no secret politics, no bullshit hierarchy. But he doesn't like the outcome of a decision to a vote, he will simply veto it. For example, in this image, you can clearly see that Zenbox Sherman vetoed a decision that he didn't like. In the foundational doc, Zenbox does not have the power to do this, but vetoing something over this minor, plus the fact that he has the power to veto in the first place, should put doubt in anybody's mind whether the pillars of Omnarch are true. How can we even believe that there are no backroom politics when this was shut down without anybody knowing beforehand? How can we believe there's no hierarchy when Zenbox could do this whenever he wants? Keep this in mind. So we have proved that the first and second pillars are fake. Let's look at the fifth. This community welcomes the exiled, the ones who were sidelined, talked over, or pushed out for caring too much. But if you are here to manipulate, harass, or rot things from inside, then you'll be, ironically, exiled. Now, the reason why Zenbox even created this pillar is because he's the one that was exiled. He was accused of doing certain things in Risk Universalis, which there is a doc for, which I don't have. They were probably true, and left to create his own game because he didn't get what he wanted. But that's just my opinion. Back to Chapter 2. I talked about the staff members having a horrible background, so why would Zenbox allow people that manipulate, harass, or rob communities in his server? Because this pillar is fake. If Zenbox actually wanted to uphold what he is saying, then he would ban every single person I mentioned in this video. What about Unless? He has manipulated the Risk Universalis community, stirring drama, and he's famous for it. What makes him different now? What about Caliber, harassing others younger than him with inappropriate comments? What makes him different now? Or Sentinel, rotting Risk Universalis for racist neo-Confederate roleplay and engaging in severe NSFW servers.
Hello. So, this was intended to be an interview. However, because of some disruptions, it had to be moved to simply becoming essentially a recording of myself reading my own questions. Number 1. Do you think it's fair that Zenbox is allowing controversial people to become staff members? And I think, no, I do not think it's fair. Unlock principles itself on democratic ways, yet we still allow these people in. It is not we, it is Zenbox. He runs background checks on the people who apply to join before accepting them. When he does this reasonably, you should know about what their history is. So, assuming this, he knows what these people have done, and yet he lets them into our team without consulting us first. Thus, I think it is not fair. I can make an exception for the other people who join, because their history is one of unfairness. They have been exiled from their communities, banned, but there can be made the argument for their innocence. Number 2. Do you think the books should have made this game in the first place? And I think yes, most likely, because corrupt communities like Risk and the word Conquest have exiled many passionate people who have demoted them from their community. In essentiality, they are living corpses of games. What is that genre to become enjoyable again? We must have this new community, a better community, one that welcomes all, one that is lenient. Without the leniency, there would be no better and the communities they seek to replace. Remember that. But I digress. I do believe Zenbox should have made this game, because I'm not aware of any other games which can serve a similar purpose. Perhaps Paxite Venom could have been an exception, but I was not there to experience it, so I cannot speak for it. 3. Do you think the 5 pillars of Omnarch is factual or fabricated? I think they are factual, very factual. However, there have been diversions, there have been subversions, there have been violations, and that is why I am recording this right now. Otherwise, I would not be contacting Ryan. 4. Do you think the Zenbox made Omnarch for his own benefit? And personally, because I cannot prove anything in this case, there's not much logic I can use. I think no. Although there have been some parts which perhaps are not as favorable. More evidence can be found in the upcoming video, I suppose. I thank you for your time.